Welcome back, dude and dudettes, to another wild episode of Send It Mate. We're here to talk about all things hunting and outdoors. And today, we've got something that'll keep your gear running smoother than a dingo's getaway.
That's right. Our show is brought to you by High Caliber, the gun and knife oil company that knows how to keep your firearms and blades in tip-top shape.
High Caliber is like the secret sauce for hunters, anglers, and outdoorsy folk everywhere. It's like the magic potion that makes your gun and knives happier than a dog with two tails.
You know, guys, I've been using High Caliber oil for a while now, and let me tell you, it's the duck's nuts. My rifle practically sings a lullaby when I take it out hunting.
And speaking of lullabies, ever tried sneaking up on a deer with a squeaky gun? It's a prime way to end up with no venison in the freezer. You'll be hungrier than a vegan at a bacon festival.
Absolutely. But with High Caliber oil, your gun will be quieter than a ninja in moonlight. You'll be stalking your prey with the grace and stealth of a mountain lion.
High Caliber doesn't just keep things quiet, it also prevents rust and corrosion, so you won't find your gear looking like it spent a season at the bottom of a creek.
That's right, and for you knife enthusiasts out there, High Caliber has got you covered too. Your trusty blade will slice through anything smoother than butter on a hot biscuit.
So, folks, don't let your gear become a rusty, squeaky mess. Head on over to highcaliber.com.au and grab a bottle of their oil today.
And if you use the code SENDITMATE at checkout, you'll get a special discount. I say again, use the code SENDITMATE for all your oil slick, stealthy hunting needs.
Thanks to High Caliber, you'll be sending it in style and silence.
So, gear up, oil up, and send it, mate. High Caliber, the ultimate oil for the ultimate hunter.
Hey everyone, welcome back. If you haven't listened to part one, what are you doing? Go back and listen to that first.
But if you have listened to part one, sit down, crack a beer, and enjoy.
Oh, anyway, we're back. Sorry, I needed that because I haven't talked this much in 6 weeks. But yeah, tipping is what I was talking about. I actually hate it because it's so much double handling. So typically you would go somewhere, you'd ask for the bill, they would bring the bill with and take your credit card, go swipe your credit card and take your details, then bring another receipt back where you then enter the tip, you take your credit card back, then they take it away and at a later time process the tip on top of it. So I'm like, it's fucking double handling. And of course, if it's an electronic thing, that's how they then separate out the tip amount for them. But it's like, you got to double handle every bill, and cash is just as annoying. And even paying for like a drink at a bar, if you're just getting one, like the easiest thing to do is start a tab, which most places ask you to do.
Yeah.
But if you're just going for one drink and you're paying on card, you still got to do the 2 transaction thing, like, and have a pen and write something. It's like they give you a pen, but it's just annoying.
I guess we're used to the way we do things, and it'd be different if you're used to it. But yeah, it's double handling.
It's so much double handling. I much preferred it if they had an FPOS terminal where you'd have the amount, you swipe your card, you choose your tip, and you're done. One transaction. That was the ultimate. The rest of it's all bullshit. But the other thing everyone keeps asking me is, how was the food? Like, was it shit? Was there massive portions? And on the portion side, there wasn't anywhere we went we're like, this is huge, this is ridiculous. Because cost of living over there, I reckon what they've done is just kept the price the same and reduced the portions. Because there were no big portions. It was all like normal or smaller, in fact.
How is coffee over there, Ben?
Coffee is the most diabolical, fucking dirty piss water dog shit you've ever had. Terrible. It's all like drip coffee, like dripped through a filter into the pot or whatever. It's been sitting there all day. Like, it's terrible. It's not like our freshly brewed coffee that we have here. It's terrible. And Starbucks is a joke. Like, I didn't just have Starbucks, by the way. I had like cafes everywhere. I tried all sorts of different chains. I tried different cafes. The only good coffees I had were owned by Australians in like brunch joints, and they don't give up all their secrets to everywhere. Like they keep it to themselves about why they have such good coffee. And Hawaii in general is good coffee. But the average American coffee just tastes like dirty dishwater. It's terrible. And expensive for what it is. Like more expensive than here.
The Aussie places. Yeah. Aussie places are busier. Do they better coffee? No.
Do you want to say that again?
Because don't really care too much about their coffee.
Ask the question again about the coffee because you sounded like you're in the TARDIS just then.
Do you find that the Australian places am I shit again?
Yeah. You've gone robot voice again. Try now.
Right?
Try now, you should be all right.
Am I still robot?
Yeah.
Am I still robot?
Still a robot.
Yeah. I'll be back.
Nah, Elon's taking you over, mate.
Hope it doesn't pick up the recording. All right, just give me a second.
Neural link. It's not working, mate.
He's used to crashing things.
Bear with us, ladies and gentlemen. We're having some technical difficulties while Shannon reconnects to the podcast. And hopefully this time it's not terrible. But I don't know what he was asking me. I vaguely heard something about whether the good coffee places were busier. Is that what you said?
I heard if the Aussie places were busier.
Was that what you asked?
Yes. Are the Australian places seem busier than the normal places? I was just wanting to get a local
about the same. About the same, really.
Perceive it. Yeah, okay.
Like
so the Americans don't give a shit about that coffee.
We went to they don't. But there's a chain. I think it's called Bluestone. It's actually owned by an ex-AFL player. Mm-hmm. There's like 5 or 6 of them in New York, and they do Australian style brunches like smashed avo and all that sort of shit.
What in the world are you drinking?
Yeah, what are you drinking, by the way?
Well, speaking of coffee, I just got brought a espresso martini.
There's no X.
Continue.
There's no X in espresso, by the way.
Espresso. I said espresso.
You said
must have been a
espresso.
stutter in the actual.
I'm sorry, Josh. Can we get a ruling on that? Did he say espresso?
You did.
No. I'm doing a Josh and standing firm.
What's that song by Sabrina Carpenter? Espresso.
Espresso.
Yeah. So his coffee was great. Another joint we went to was in. I didn't know it was Aussie owned. Was in LA, which, by the way, we went to LA primarily so the Dale could go to Disneyland, but also we both wanted to see Hollywood for what it was because we've had mixed reviews rather. It is the dirtiest, shittiest place you'll ever go. It is dog shit, and everyone's attitude is terrible. Anyway, we went to this brunch joint. I had a breakfast. This is where I tried a breakfast burrito, which was friggin' amazing. Like, as a sort of like when we do cook-ups and we do wraps with like bacon and egg, and a bit of shit mixed in. Along those
they
sort of
probably
veins.
exclude the shell.
No shell included. But yeah, bacon, egg, chorizo. I hesitate to say it now, but there was avocado in there. Like
that's what I tasted.
Onion, a few other things. It was delicious. And the coffee came out. I ordered a cappuccino, and I'm like, this is not only great coffee for America. This is like up there with some of the best coffee I've ever had. So it was only us in there, and I said to the lady afterwards, I'm like, that was amazing. Thank you so much. And the coffee was awesome too. And she said, "Oh, where are you from?" I said, "Oh, Australia." So like what I've found is the coffee in America in general is terrible. And I've only had a couple of nice coffees, and this is the best I've had so far. She goes, "Well, we have an Australian owner." And that's why our coffee is the way it is, because he insists on it being Australian standard. And it's actually well known in the States that Australians are kind of coffee snobs.
Yeah, I was going to say, we must be coffee snobs. Hey? I guess most people drink it.
It seems bizarre to me that Australians have like a higher standard of coffee than somewhere else, but I get it. The coffee culture in like Italy, for example, is on another level.
Yeah, okay.
They don't have the same sort of coffees. They have espressos and ristretto. And
what's this espresso?
But yeah, that was a phenomenal coffee.
Look, it's funny when you like drink a lot of coffee, like having a cafe. I wouldn't drink shots or anything like that, and then having a cafe, you'd sort of drink a lot more coffee than you'd normally would if that's humanly possible. But you'd start getting shots, and like you get into like macchiatos or something like that, and you just naturally progress to it because you wouldn't want to drink a liter of milk a day. And
why not?
And then it suddenly changes your palate, and you're like, okay, this is actually quite nice.
I've never had a shot of coffee before, to be honest.
You need it's got to be done right, and this is where, like a lot of places in Australia, like yes, we might have a higher standard, but we still get that sort of mixed. Okay, this is terrible. This is okay. This is good, and it's simply because of consistency, the way they're supposed to. Essentially, how much ground you've got, how much. Well, the ground changes as well with the temperature, so you've got to get your grind right to begin with. Then how much you put in there, and then your tamp as well. That's all got to be like pretty consistent. Otherwise, you're still going to get a crap coffee.
I was listening to a podcast the other day, the Howie Games, which is one I like for like having sports people on, and he had Marnus Labuschagne on, who is the Australian batsman. And the Australian cricket team, I found out, has their own coffee machine that goes on tour with them.
Nice.
And he's in charge of getting the beans. He also has his own coffee brand as well himself, but he's in charge of getting the beans and the milk, like especially when they go to India, getting hold of milk's hard. But he also has his own coffee machine in his room because he's that much of a coffee nerd. And the host asked him, what's your favorite coffee? And he just went into this full like crap on about what he does, and it's like a ristretto and why he likes a ristretto versus this because of the cup size. And a ristretto basically works out to he was talking about 2 spouts at once, but basically it ends up being 1.5 shots. 1 shot is too weak for the cup size. 2 shots is too strong. The 1.5 is the perfect. And he's like fully nerding out on this. I'm like, it actually makes perfect sense what you're saying, and I want to try a coffee that you've made. But there is such a science to it. Like
like you can do everything right and then just have it too hot and it burns it.
So the missus and I have a drip filter, one of those American style filters. They are the hardest thing to get right. It is. But when it's right, you're like, oh, damn. It's almost like it's better than a percolated coffee, like your French press. Yeah. But to get it to that point, man, it
takes that much dicking around with it.
Yeah.
I'm assuming it's not the sort of thing you can just leave all day and then expect a nice pot of coffee.
You can't just like put your filter in, dump your grinds in, and throw it down, and then it filters through obviously and fills up, and it's good. You can't do that. It's the same with French press.
You got a hangover and you just want a good coffee, then you're screwed.
Yeah, you're stuffed. Honestly, a espresso is the better way to go if you just want a shot of coffee. Even if it's bad, it's going to come out better than a filter or a French press. Yeah. I mean, we've all had French presses at deer camp, and like whoever's the last to get it, like just gets a mouthful of grind.
Yeah,
it's chewy. It's definitely chewy. It's a chillable breakfast.
Man. Yeah. Anyway, who'd have thought Australians coffee snobs massively and world renowned for it? But
how's their beers?
See, this is something I was expecting to go have
because they're supposed to be watery beers,
weak pissy beers. But then I was looking at the alcohol percentage, and even a Bud Light is like one of our lagers, like same alcohol percentage.
Yeah, but that doesn't mean watery, does it?
It didn't taste watery. Like it was less watery than like Great Northern.
Okay,
actually, Great Northern is a fine drop. Thank you.
Like Budweiser, I got around Budweiser. You go to a sporting event, they do these massive ass cans, like I think they were 16 ounces. Don't quote me.
Yeah.
But they were giant cans, like double a normal can sort of thing.
Yeah, but are they the same? But is that percentage of standard drinks to that can?
It's one can, mate. That's one drink.
like one massive can. So like more
Because
than
my bottles are 1.1. Was it massive?
multiple
can?
standards
Like
of drinks.
1.3?
And some of them were like 6.978%. And then in like twice the size of a normal can sort of thing. But they were like
so percentage doesn't matter
Modelo
what
or
size,
Corona or Stella or all normal beers. Or you could get like Budweiser. Like I had quite a few Budweisers.
Bud and Miller's good, man. Look, I don't
It's
mind.
not Miller Chill. That's a little bit on the girly side. But
Nah, it's
once you add all these
summery
fucking
beer,
gay-ass
mate.
flavors and shit. But like the average beer was okay. And then alcohol-wise, they pour – it's a heavy pour. Like
So they pour with a heart, yeah.
I drank a lot of Buffalo Trace. That sort of became our drink of choice, especially in New Orleans when we hung out on Bourbon Street, went to all the bars, drinking a lot of Buffalo Trace. And the other thing that I've noticed is they definitely ask, do you want single, double, triple?
Oh, the old 2 fingers or 3 fingers.
Yeah. But even on a, like, we'd say, oh, a single's fine. And then they'd just be pouring, free pour. And you're like, that cup is 2/3 fucking alcohol. What's a double look like?
It's a straight.
But then you're still paying for it.
What's the price of alcohol compared to Australia?
Oh,
Like, is it because we pay a lot of tax here, correct? So theoretically, it should be cheaper.
I didn't feel like it was cheaper. Like you'd still, in some places it was okay. So what did I get away with? 2 Buffalo Traces, singles. So one for me, one for her. Cost me 16 US, which is effectively 24 Australian. So it's about the same. So that works out to 12 Australian each for, a mixed spirit.
But you get a little sort of home pour vibe with that drink rather than a schedule.
So you're probably getting more value there. So that was in Texas. That was okay. Value for money. I feel like New Orleans was a little bit more expensive, a little bit stingier. But then you go get like crazy cocktails in like fucking these massive things.
Fish bowl.
Get tornadoes, or there's one called the hand grenade. That was pretty good. Then you're like, this is a concoction of I don't know what the hell is in here, and it cost me $14 US.
Have you ever had a fish bowl?
I don't think I have actually.
They're disgusting.
We need what? No, they're the best pre-drinks of a night. You can have.
They taste like cat
No,
food.
no. The fish bowl. Like, at least I'm obviously you'd be thinking of the same place, Josh, in Darwin. Yeah. It became a ritual. Like you go there, forget the place, what it's called, but grab a fish bowl, costs you like $25.
Oh.
But it's got 13 or 10 to 12 shots in it, and it could be whatever you want. There's different variations of it, but I reckon they were great. The first 2 sips or 3 sips, you're like, holy shit! But it's sort of you get used to it.
You can,
and then by the end of it, you're kicking on.
You can buy these little things which are perfect for pre-drinks. They're like a little ball. Imagine a ball.
That's an 8 ball.
Yeah.
No.
It's got some white powder in it.
Imagine it's a can, but it's spherical. But then the top face of it's like a normal can with the pull ring. And I can't remember what the fuck they were called, but they were
spherical. It's a can.
They were like aluminum can. They were called some play on words, but they were specifically for pre-drinking. They're like 10%, but like real fruity flavors. And you just buy them for pre-drinks at like the supermarket.
Oh,
that was the other good thing. Just buy alcohol at the supermarket. New Orleans,
that's cool.
Walk around the streets with your drinks.
servos?
I don't really go to many servos, to be honest.
Okay.
In fact, I didn't go into a single servo because you can pay at the pump.
You can do that here.
I know you can, but I had a full freak out about paying for fuel when I hired a car. I'm like, I know there's this thing where Americans freak out about Australians go into pay or pay after they're filled up, and I'm like, shit, how does this work? But you don't actually pay at the pump after you're filled. You have to put all your
prepaid.
Yeah, you swipe your card. Because I was like, well, how the fuck do I fill up this hire car and know how much I need to prepay. But what you do is you swipe your card. It puts a hold on your card for $50. Then you fill up.
You can have a maximum, but if you're under that, it charges you.
Yes, and then it adjusts it after the fact. So again, double handling. But
I've always been skeptical because you get a few of those around Australia where, after hours, like after 8 o'clock at night, it's an order you have to prepay, which is fair enough in some places that are a bit iffy.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've always been skeptical on the fact of, does it charge you $50 minimum if you choose 50 and it charges you 50 regardless, and then you come out with $38 of fuel? You're like, but so I've never actually tested it properly, but I guess.
Look, I didn't. It was convenient, really, because I wasn't going in. I was just paying at the pump. But I kind of do like our system of just putting as much as you like in, and then going in and paying for it.
Yeah.
Other thing on the alcohol is at a sporting event, it's bullshit. So, like,
as in price,
Australians, and me included, have a whinge at events here. Like, you go to the footy, for example, it'll cost you $15 for a can of spirits. It'll cost you about $10 for a beer. US is insane. Yes, you're getting your big can, but I think, like, we got 2 drinks. She got a can of, like, some premix, and I got one of those big ass beer cans, and it was like $50 US.
That's probably why the breed of the whole tailgating stuff is a thing at sporting events over there.
It's fucked, man. Like, yeah. But the NBA game we went to, the crowd was there just to be seen to be there. That's what I think. Like, it was just an event to go to because no one actually cared about the game. They were out the back half the time. So, like, when the game was started, the crowd was there. But, like, 3/4 time, like, the home team was still in it. We went and saw a Pelicans game, and yes, they're shit at the moment, but the crowd was just still out the back and didn't come back in. They just left it versus the hockey game. It was more like an AFL crowd where the game was on, everyone's back in their seats, cheering for the team, like, actually watching it. So I actually preferred the hockey over the NBA to watch. Plus, there's a bit of biffo in ice hockey too. Like, watching people get slammed against the boards. You're kind of hoping there's going to be a fist fight at some point. Full Mighty Ducks style. Like, come on, where's the Bash Brothers at?
Just off topic. Club tails. Is that the cans you're talking about?
No, it's a pun. It's a play on words. It's something to do with like a ball or a. I'll find it because
I'm interested.
It's like a real like party starter, but it's this little like
buzzball.
Buzzball, that's the one.
Cocktails?
Buzzball,
Yeah,
yes.
They're 15%, bro.
Yes, sorry,
I
15.
went past it because they're 15.
15%.
I'm like, nah, you be on a percentage.
What a way to pre-drink.
Yeah, that is
Buzzballs.
vodka, orange wine, and cream with natural flavors. Natural, but probably not natural. These actually look pretty appetizing.
Yeah, good.
Yeah, they're like the glass jar, really.
Yeah,
circle glass jar with a top on it.
Yep. Designed for pre-drinking to get you started.
200 ml drink that's 15% alcohol.
Yeah.
That's just it's a large shot.
Did we just find a business model for Australia?
Well, having said that, I was in the Bottle-O for this past weekend, Australia Day, and what I've noticed is there's now a heap of 200 ml cans, but 12%.
Oh yeah, like Jim.
If you want to get ready for a good night, then
without the bloat and all the liquid in your guts.
Yeah, you don't want to consume 4 liters of liquid.
Is it because people are too soft to like straight drink spirits now, or what? Like shots?
It does look pretty tasty though. This Buzzballs.
Yeah.
Choc teas, Jesus, it's a very innuendo, but
yeah, good.
Yeah,
the alcohol was good. So in general, alcohol was good over there. There's not like this, like, oh, all the beers are watery and light. They're like,
because there was a mentality that Americans didn't do any pre-drinks, like saying pre-mixed drinks, and it was Australia did a lot of pre-mix, and you go over there, you have to get it mixed, so you can't just go out and get a Jack Daniel's can.
Oh, look,
I guess it might have changed in the recent history.
I did get surprised in Hawaii when I bought what I thought was a normal can of Jack's. And then I looked at the fucking label and I'm like, oh, these are 8%.
Cool. Nice.
It wasn't like Jack's double or Jack's gold or anything like that. It was just like a
Gentleman
standard
Jack's.
Jack's. I'm like, shit, that's 8%. Because I took the first sip and I'm like, fuck, this is strong compared to normal. Oh,
Yeah, nice.
so there's a few pleasant surprises. It was cool in like Vegas and New Orleans where you can walk the streets with alcohol because we're so used to Australia with the liquor licensing laws. You can't set foot out of places that's not licensed or whatever. Like Bourbon Street in New Orleans, everything's served in plastic. You had enough of a bar, you just walk down the street.
You can what? Huh.
You just walk down the street and go. So some places don't allow outside drinks, but the majority would just rather you be in there with the potential to buy another drink.
Huh.
Some places have like a 1 or 2 drink minimum if you're going to go in and watch a band.
Yeah.
I don't like tipping of the band. Like
Tipping of the band.
yeah, there was tipping of the band. So every band we
So
went
they're
and
not
saw,
paid by venue. They're paid by tips.
they would get paid something.
They're a busket at a venue, really.
But yeah, it felt a bit busky and like needy because you're like, well, yeah, you're fucking sick and I appreciate it, but I'm full time. I'm flat out trying to pay drinks here, and you want money for playing in the background. They did a lot of like dueling pianos and taking requests and stuff like that as well. So then you've got an incentive to tip. Like you tip with your song request.
Yeah.
Then you feel like you're getting your
fair
money's worth.
That you're getting something.
But there was some.
That's cool.
The live music scene in New Orleans is sick. But to anyone who's not been yet and they want to go, Bourbon Street, yeah, it's cool. It's a bit like, I don't know, for South Australians, Hindley Street vibes, like just go get drunk and carry on and enjoy some music. There's another street called Frenchman Street, completely different crowd, more like couples, like a bit older, a bit more sophisticated, shall we say. Better vibe. You can actually listen to the music properly and there's just not drunk idiots doing whatever.
Speaking of venues, though, I feel like you breezed over it really quickly.
Yeah.
I didn't really give anything on it. How's the Rogan venue?
Sick. So that was one of my favourite nights of the whole trip. And we had a nice dinner together beforehand, a few drinks, and we pre-bought our tickets. Yeah, I know you don't, but I'm setting the scene. We're already loved up. We're already had a nice meal. We've already had a few beverages.
You had a few buzzballs, yeah.
He's already had some avocado with his French toast, mate.
Anyway, so the main strip of Austin is 6th Street, 6th Avenue, one of the two. 6th Street, I think it is. That's where all like the bars and shit is. And that's where Rogan's joint is, which is the old Ritz Cinema or theatre. So you go there. We got in this line and we'd already bought tickets to a show. So there's two rooms. He's got Fat Man and Little Boy.
I'm guessing they're both like, this is packed. Is this pretty well filled? Or are they close to?
Like it's,
then again, you're having it every night. That's
or
probably,
like the shows all sell out. Like we bought them back here in Australia. Like
yeah, that's what I'm saying.
3 months out, right? So, yeah, we went into the line and like, oh, if you've got tickets to a show, go to the end of the street. There's a lady there. Scan it, gives you a wristband. Then you come all the way back and then you're like, okay, you can come in. You got to submit your phone to the bouncers on the way in. And they put it in this case, like this flexible lock-up case that you can't get into. They're the only ones who can unlock it. And then you go into Mitzi's bar. So most people who listen to Rogan would know who Mitzi is. Back in Rogan's like LA days, she was in charge of the Comedy Store. So he named Mitzi's bar after her. And it's just a cool little bar where you can have a drink before you go into the show. And they say, oh, you know, for the 10:30 show, we'll come down and grab you, just chill, have a drink. I saw Tony Hinchcliffe was in there. So from Kill Tony. There's like a sectioned off like VIP section where the celebrity people can drink. And then, yeah, I think we saw a 10:30 show and we'd had a few drinks by then. And then they take you upstairs. They seat you and take your drink, like a drink order from you. So we were in Little Boy, which is the smaller of the two venues, and we were like at the stage, like leaning on like the bar by the stage. So like
you were the first run.
I could have reached out and touched all the comedians. So we saw like a lineup of 10 comedians,
Mhm.
So there's a few like up and comers. Some are sort of doing well. The only like properly famous one that performed was Paulie Shaw, who he was famous in the 90s. He was in like Biodome, Encino Man, movies like that. He's just got like I've watched Biodome back since. I'm like, he just acted like a fucking idiot. It wasn't actually that funny. But his comedy was funny. He just took the piss out of himself most of the time. Yeah, it was a good lineup, good mixture, and fuck, we laughed our guts out. And that's a 2-drink minimum in there as well. So there's a guy walking around and he'll like take your credit card. So he fucks off with it and then brings it back at the end along with the bill, and you do your whole tip fucking dance as well. Yeah. But yeah, you're holding onto your phone in this bag the whole time.
That'll take some time to get out because they've got your card, they've got your phone.
Yep.
And you have to wait for yourself to get through, plus everyone else in front of you.
Yep. Yeah. So it's a bit of hoo-ha, but because people stagger getting there and some go to the bar, some just jump in the line, it wasn't actually too bad. Like, we didn't have to line up to get in really that much. But yeah, man, it was pretty awesome. And I can see why they do take people's phones, because then comedians can try stuff out on stage.
Everything's private, yeah.
They're trying it out for the first time, plus it's not politically correct at all. Like, some of the jokes were like fucking out there.
Yeah.
But
that's comedians though, yeah?
Yeah, like it was still like not just offensive for the sake of it, like still comedy, but they wouldn't fly on any sort of media platform like racist, sexist, trans got bagged, like the whole lot.
Mm-hmm.
But it was in the context of comedy. There wasn't anything mean. Funny as fuck. So that was just a really good night. And then, you roll out down the stairs again, and then you go up to a couple of the staff there that are just unlocking your phone from these bags. And they have comedians that work there on the door. So, like, one of the doormen who took us upstairs, he was the last comedian.
Ah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, so they're doing a bit of, you work at the place and, yeah.
Yeah, and they sort of have like a bit of a community amongst the comedians. And it all sort of makes sense. I've heard Rogan talk about all this and what he wanted to create, and I can see what he's done. Like, it's pretty cool. And then, like, I've started following a couple of those comedians who I'd never heard of before, and seen them on other stuff, and that's how they get their name out there, get more exposure. And
no, it's good because it gives people that generally probably wouldn't have got a crack. So, 100%. And then especially in that sort of private environment where people aren't going to use their phones to share, so it's not going to destroy your material for the next town.
Yeah, I can see why they do it. But there was like, we spoke to a couple of Aussies in the bar downstairs before the show, and it's sort of similar to me. Like, they just wanted to check it out, see what it was all about, because they listened to Rogan and heard him crap on about it.
Yeah, definitely. Did you hear him crap on about guns? Did you want to check that out too, or not?
Oh, Jesus. Look, I did.
Did you check out bows or?
No, I did go into an outdoor store and there was a bazooka on the wall though. That was random.
Nice. Did you take photos?
I did actually.
Can we post that?
I mean, it's not that exciting. It's just a bazooka.
It's exciting for me.
And it says, please do not touch the bazooka. It was the worst disposal. It was like a disposal store. Like, we've got Aussie disposals here, or it's got like army surplus and all that sort of shit. This place was like, this was in LA. It was terrible. Like, you start going through the racks of clothes, you're like, shit, they've got Under Armour gear. Okay, this could be all right. And you go through and it's like all the like extra small, and then it like skips large, medium, and XL, and it just goes to 2XL and 3XL. I'm like, you've got all the stuff that no one buys.
And the only clothing that's in your size is Ridgeline.
Yeah. They just had all the clearance shit, or like random camo patterns, or like
it's the extras.
Yeah, like they'd have some boots. I'm like, okay, cool, I'll check these out. And I'm like, oh, they're only available in this like weird size. So it was not a good shop, but they had a bazooka on the wall.
Yeah, nice.
Oh, they had air guns. So they had some
it sounds like you went to one of the worst ones there.
I did.
Yeah, he bypassed Cabela's and went straight to Aussie disposals. Yeah.
There was there was a gun shop.
How did you know?
Sorry, I missed that. You went to TARDIS again.
Yeah, something to do. How did you not go to Cabela's?
There wasn't one near near me.
What, you didn't like park in a car park of a Cabela's?
So only two
You couldn't
times.
use Google, just search.
Settle down. Only 2 times I hired a car was Vegas to go to the Grand Canyon and Hawaii to drive around the island.
Mm.
Wherever city we were staying in, I searched for gun shops. They were either out of the city where I'd have to do like a massive trip out of my way. If I had a car, I would have gone. But
Yeah.
I'm not doing a day trip out to a gun shop just to go look at a gun shop. There was one in Vegas. I'm like, I really want to go there because it just looks sick. And they had like a monster truck as their fucking work vehicle. And I'm like branded with the gun shop logo and everything. I'm like, I want to go there. But honestly, when you try not to spend $1 billion on everything, like a standalone Uber ride out to a gun shop just to look at a gun shop, I was sort of like, nah.
Should have been
You know what I'm
priority.
surprised of? Like, you went to Disneyland because your missus, she wants to go. Just purely, you'd be like, you get a Disneyland day or 2. I'm not sure how many days you went. I get this day that you come along with me, and it's a range day with this, either go to a gun store and spend some time, Cabela's or whatever, or a specific gun store, or you go to a range day that they set out and you've pre-planned as part of your trip. I don't know how that didn't come into play because it's both of your trip. Like, no offense to your missus, but you both paid for this trip.
Yeah,
So,
I see what you're saying.
and she would have been keen. Like, she would have not mattered getting one day to go, I want to do this.
Yeah, no, you do raise a fair point. Like I wouldn't have had a day at Terry Black's or the night at Joe Rogan's if it was her planning it. That was all me, and she enjoyed that. I could have definitely made a point of going to a range or something, but I didn't. So look,
but
it's on me. It's on me. It's on me.
I understand that. It's fine.
We'll
make up for this.
In her defense, she did say, is there anything else you want to do? Anything else you want to add? She did give me plenty of opportunity. I just didn't.
You're like, no, Dal, I don't want to see any gun shops. That's fine.
In New Orleans, there was a antique firearms place that we walked past and they were closed. And we're like, we'll come back here tomorrow because they had a range of a heap of stuff. I'm like, that looks sick. Mm-hmm. And then the next day we went back, they were closed. I was like, fuck. Because we walked past at like 11 o'clock at night. Well, let's come back here tomorrow. Next day closed. I'm like, damn it. So,
all right. So you kind of tried once.
We tried a few times. It was either just too far out of the way or we didn't have time. So it's all
like, no, it's just the 200 meters down this left turn.
This
is too far away.
This is all excuses you're not going to give me slack on. So whatever. I need to be better. Sorry.
Yeah.
But there were.
No, it sounded like a good trip all round, really.
It was.
It does. It sounds kind of relaxing.
The speed limits are optional. Like, just everyone flexes. I did speed limits because I was in high cars. I'm like, I don't want to get a fine.
Yeah.
You're doing 75 miles an hour on a freeway, 120 k's an hour, and people are still flying past you at like 85, 90. Fuck. And then Hawaii's the complete opposite. Everyone's laid back, chilled. It's island time, bro. We're already here.
Yeah,
there's no rush.
It's island time, yeah. Mm-hmm.
No one speeds there.
How much of Hawaii? Because I've never been. Like, obviously, I think you've been over there, Josh, but not for personal.
No.
But how much of Hawaii is actually the island you want to see?
So we only went to Oahu, which is sort of the main island everyone goes to. So we stayed on Waikiki Beach. Oahu's where Honolulu is and the airport and all that shit. So
it's the prime tourist.
It's the prime spot everyone goes to because of the airport, and then you have to like travel to the other islands. So Maui's the other most notable one. But speaking to people, they were saying that Oahu's better. Like,
were you speaking to people in Hawaii?
Yeah, people in Hawaii. They were saying that Oahu's better in general. Hawaii has like one thing that's better overall. So, like one specific thing that's better, but overall, Oahu's better.
Yeah.
It's beautiful. Like, it's like the most lush green mountains straight out to beaches. Our beaches are better.
Like, yeah, I hope they're pretty fortunate with their beaches.
Waikiki, so the sand is coarser than Australian beaches. Mm-hmm. And Waikiki, which is sort of like the main tourist beach on Oahu. You walk out and there's fucking rocks like you're walking out and you're like, ow, fuck, like, what am I standing on? It's actually unpleasant. You got to swim where they've built breakwaters and made
the artificial beach,
artificial pools. Then you're not stepping on rocks and shit all the time. But yeah, the rest of the beach is terrible. Like you're walking around just stubbing your toes. And then you go like up one side of because we went up to, I think it's Sunset Beach it's called, which is like on the north shore, and like great surf beach, but fuck, I wouldn't swim in it. I'd drown. Like, and there's warnings as such, like the rips nuts.
Is it kind of like there's a beach, Bell's Beach in Victoria, where it's really not. It's a shit swimming beach, but it's a great surfing beach.
Have you seen Bell's Beach?
It drops off so fucking quick. It's almost like a 45-degree drop. Is it Bell's? Where the sand drops off real quick, gets deep. Like it's almost a 1-to-1.
I've not swum at Bell's Beach. I've only looked.
No, I haven't.
I've been in the car park of Bell's Beach and looked down at it and gone, what the fuck?
No, but you've been on the sand at Bell's Beach, and the drop of Bell's Beach is crazy.
Oh, yeah.
So once it hits the water, it's continuing on at that rate. So that's why it's a great surf beach, because the waves break closer to the beach, I think.
Yeah, I'd say it would be similar to that. Like there was some pretty good surfing going on, but you're watching some of these waves crash and dudes are underwater for like 20, 30 seconds. You're like, no thanks.
Getting tumbled around.
Yeah.
Fuck that.
Yeah, stuff like that.
Did you see any chittle?
No.
Any deer or whitetail or?
I didn't see any wildlife in the
Moose?
flesh other than squirrels. Squirrels everywhere. But I did go to the Natural History Museum in New York, which is pretty amazing. Like, as in the museum from Night at the Museum, the Disney movie. Phenomenal museum. And all the exhibits are, like all the taxidermy stuff, pretty impressive.
Like, not like here when you see a taxidermy in the pub. It's just like falling apart.
No.
Yeah,
So like
slug and lettuce.
they put it
the right ear is just like hanging down.
like it's actually pretty impressive. Like they'll do it because there's 4 floors and they'll do like I don't know, North American animals, so they'll have all those together, or like South Asian.
That'd be cool.
Yeah, they have it like on different floors. Plus all the dinosaur stuff and like the history of humans and a bit of sciencey sort of stuff as well.
Mm-hmm.
So that was the only place I saw deer. I took way too many photos of taxidermied species of deer. But
nothing in the wild. So you didn't go anywhere near Yellowstone?
Didn't go anywhere in Yellowstone. The only other native animals I saw was when I did the swamp tour, which is primarily for gators, but I was there in winter.
Yeah.
So all the bigger ones sort of hibernate a bit. And so it was all small gators, like these like swamp rats, which are fucking huge. And they've got a few like different birds, and then raccoons, which are actually pretty cute.
Yeah.
But,
I think after Gardens of the Galaxy, I don't think I'd be able to shoot a raccoon.
You see videos of raccoons as well. You're like, I can see that.
Yeah.
I can see what people. But then they're not the friendliest. Yeah, they're not the friendliest things, and they carry a lot of fucking diseases, I'm pretty sure. But I think Hollywood destroys that mindset of animals a lot. But yeah, raccoons are pretty cool.
Oh, actually,
without having to deal with raccoons personally.
In the Grand Canyon, we did see this mountain goat, which is supposedly endangered. It's like this, grey mountain goat that lives in the Grand Canyon.
Huh.
That was pretty cool because we were commenting about the fact that there was these people outside the railing climbing around just to get some good photos, and we're like, one slip and you were dead. Like you're falling 800 meters. And then we looked across and there's these mountain goats. I'm like, fuck. And they're just like running around and shimmying these like sheer rock faces like it's nothing.
It's crazy how they just scale that stuff.
It is.
Like just effortlessly, and it's a vertical face.
And then someone's like, why are they endangered? Oh, because they fall. Sometimes
Take
they
one
fall.
step wrong. Yeah.
But nah, didn't see a lot of wildlife. That's what I want to see. I want to see more of. Oh, let's be honest. I want to go for a hunt. Like, I still very much want to go elk hunting.
You did have your chance. Just putting it out there.
Did you?
I've ticked off
What?
all the other stuff.
Did you have a chance to go elk hunting?
Yeah, because he went to the States.
Yeah, that's not a no, bro. Come on, that's not a chance.
What
There's
do
a
you
lot
mean?
more effort than is going than just rocking up to the US.
I feel
elk
like
hunting.
they had months of planning this, so yes, he had a chance.
He had a leg way, but there was not a chance. A chance is you had the offer to do, just to go and do it.
I would have stipulated two things. I would have said, hey, look, I ain't proposing and you ain't getting
Is this
pregnant
why you haven't been to America yet?
until I'm hunting and shooting stuff. Well, it's that simple.
Yeah. I'm surprised as well that Caleb didn't put his foot down, put his calf down on this issue, and try and get something out of it a little bit more than.
Look, I get it. He's doing the
Rogan.
romantic thing. He's wooing her, because, look, he's not easy on the eye, so he's got to put his better foot forward.
Tie it down.
So, you know,
make sure he's-
look, I get it. I get it.
Turn it up.
He's a bit of used goods, and he's just got to tie it down.
Yeah. God damn. Knife is twisted.
All right, you two.
Well, you're both used goods, to be honest. But
Yeah.
Oh,
You can't get to our age and not have some sort of baggage, so calm down.
sorry, guys.
You got your own baggage, mate. What do you
Yeah, no,
fucking point
different.
fingers? But
Oh,
no, she
dear.
had no idea I was going to propose to her. But
That's
I
good.
I completely played it down to the point where I
How did you
felt
go about
bad.
it?
I felt bad because I'd always be like, nah, no time soon. Or someone would ask me, I was like, I don't know when the time's right. Or she'd
You
ask
just
me like, oh, what's the
crush
plan?
it,
Like,
yeah.
what's our timeline? What are we doing? And I'd be like, oh, I don't know. And then she'd be like, oh, I'd say things like, oh, she'd say, oh, when do you want to get married? I'm like, oh, when I find the right person. Just completely downplaying it and joking around. And I felt a bit
Yeah.
bad because
On-
I'm like, she
is
probably
this on
thinks
the
I'm
trip
stringing
or-
her along here.
Is this on the trip or is this pre?
No, just pre-trip. Like,
Yeah.
and of course, when you go away on a big trip, you get all the girlfriends going, oh, do you think he's going to have a baby?
Yeah, this is the time.
Like women do. Like, settle down. Anyway, so she had no friggin' idea. So when I actually asked her, I had in my mind it was going to be in New York because big thing for her was White Christmas. And it snowed there for the first, it was White Christmas for the first time in 20 years in New York. So
Oh shit, meant to be.
that was good. So it was -10 the night before we got there. And then I thought, well, when do I do it? I sort of first thought New Year's or maybe Christmas Day, because obviously we had no friends and family over there. So Christmas Day was just us.
Mhm.
So I'd been carrying this ring around for fucking 2 weeks by this 2.5 weeks by this stage. Christmas Day, I was like, maybe today would be the day. We're having a nice.
How much does that play on your mind carrying that around?
Lots, especially going through all the security. So I'm like, I'm not putting it in my checked luggage because if that goes missing, there goes the ring. So I'll keep it on me in my carry-on at all times. But the thing I was worried about is them just like turning out my bag and taking everything out in front of her.
Mm-hmm.
The security is next level, like shoes off, like the whole lot. They are on steroids. But that didn't happen. So what I ended up doing was once I got to the US, I took it out of the box and I put it in. I've got like a little folder that holds both our passports and documents and shit. I was in charge of that. And I made sure I was in charge of holding that in my backpack at all times.
Mm-hmm.
And then whenever we're in, so I took the ring out of the box, put it in that little folder, zipped up, and then it was always
Oh, the ring's loose in that folder.
Yeah, but in like a zipped up compartment.
Yeah,
Not
but
like a
just
folder
ring.
file. Imagine like an oversized wallet that zips up, holds
Yeah, it's a
passport.
ring itself, not the actual.
Yeah, just the ring.
Yeah.
And then if we're in hotels, passports in the safe, that's that's a pretty legit thing. So thought nothing of it. And then when we were like going through airports or whatever, then it was on me. So it was nice to not have to worry about it. But anyway, back to Christmas Day, walking around Central Park, nice picnic lunch, very picturesque. It's covered in snow. It's actually pretty beautiful. And I'm like, oh, there's some. I'd sort of Googled some nice like bridges and stuff, and there's a castle and all sorts in Central Park. I'm like, I might find a nice picturesque spot. But of course, you get to a bridge. There's 55,000 fucking people there taking selfies. There's a particular nice one, and then some dude pops the question, and the crowd goes woo, and I'm like, well, fuck, he stole my thunder. I can't do it here. So I'm carrying this thing around in the box by this stage all day. The good thing was, because it was so cold, I had like a big coat on and stuff. But she'd come give me a hug, and I'd have to sort of like turn one way so she couldn't feel it in my pocket. She still had no idea. So I'm like, well, Christmas Day I was out, and then the next one was going to be New Year's, and we had a hotel in Times Square for New Year's, which incidentally is the most overrated, overhyped thing America does pretty much. But we planned to be in the crowd in Times Square when the ball dropped, and that's when I was going to turn around and be like, oh, do you want to marry me? But she actually got food poisoning a couple of days before. Food poisoning, or there was a virus going through the food in New York. I was fine.
Going through the food in New York?
Yeah, like it's specific to the food. I can't remember what the virus was called. It was basically like gastro, but lasted a bit longer. But we'd also done a heap of like walking around. We did 38,000 steps one day in New York. So a bit run down anyway. So on New Year's, the plan was to go into the crowd, but then we're like, the weather's shit. We were a bit over crowds by then. She still wasn't feeling well. Let's just have a nice dinner inside in the hotel, take it easy, watch it on TV. But then also looking out the window, you can still see mostly everything.
Yeah.
So it was a night in, which I was like, this is not the big grand gesture, but it kind of feels a bit more us. So, yeah, we were watching the thing on TV, counting down to New Year's. I was like, I'll set my phone up on the window so I can capture, New Year's moment. She didn't think anything of it.
Nice.
Went midnight. The ball dropped. The crowd outside went nuts. Confetti, everything on the streets. Looking out the window. We sort of celebrated. Two of us went to the window. When she was looking in the window, I grabbed the ring, which I'd moved to a position I could get to. Chucked it in my pocket. Then, like, the New York song came on by Frank Sinatra, so we had a bit of a dance. Well, she said, oh, will you dance with me? So we're having a dance. And then she went back to the window, turned around again, and I turned the TV off.
Then to the wall. Sorry. Sorry, man. Sorry. She went to the window.
Yeah, went to the window. It does tie in with my sweaty balls I was talking about earlier. But anyway, yeah, and like, so where am I up to?
Window.
She looks out the window.
Oh, I looked out the window, and then
That's
I sort of turned all the TV and everything off and came back to her, and she goes, what are you doing? What are you turning that off for? I said, hang on, well, it's 2025, and the first thing I want to do to start the new year is ask you to marry me. And I got down on one knee, and technically it wasn't yes she said first, is where was that this whole time?
Yeah.
And then she sort of said yes, of course, and then then there was tears and hugs and whatever else. But it was kind of, it felt a bit more like us.
Low key.
Yeah, the low key thing. And then I was sort of sweating on being in that crowd.
Definitely felt hermity.
Yeah, like having a ring in my pocket in a crowd, and then proposing in front of all these strangers. But as it was, we sort of had, there's probably, I reckon, half a dozen proposals we witnessed in New York.
Yeah.
Same sort of thing. Like this couple's going, oh, this is a trip of a lifetime. Let's get engaged. But it was very fleeting, the sort of moment they had with each other, because it was almost like embarrassing, because there'd be this big crowd. He'd pop the question. She'd say yes. The crowd would go, woo. And then there was this little awkward moment where,
what do we do now?
What do we do now? And they'd sort of like shuffle off to a park bench and talk, or or whatever. So it was kind of nice having it a bit more chilled and like the whole thing captured on video for us, just to remember the special moment for us.
So you were saying that you were filming outside, but you're actually filming inside? Because you said you had the phone to the window.
Yeah, I put the phone on the window, filming us. Yeah, in the room.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So I don't know. We sort of had the location and it was a pretty freaking nice hotel we're in as well. So I felt like I got my money's worth out of the thing as well. So we sort of had the experience of Times Square on New Year's without the crowd and the getting rained on, and people would, no joke, line up from like 8:30 in the morning. But they section off a massive area, right? So from like 43rd to 59th and then 6th to 8th Avenue. So that is quite a big area. They completely section off. They set up sections, like barricaded sections within that area. And there's that many police. It's not funny, but there's so much voided area with like television trucks and walkways and stuff. I don't believe they truly get 1 million people on the street as they say they do. And then they show footage on TV of all these people like swarming to the stage and running forward. I watched that live out my window. It was like a trickle of people. It was nowhere near as much as they hype it up.
It's Hollywood reported, yeah.
Yeah. They hype it up something chronic. So would I do that? Would I actually line up in Times Square and be in the crowd? No.
Mm-hmm. Oh, like being in a crowd anywhere? No, fuck that.
New York is shocking, man. Like, we stayed near Fifth Avenue. So we had 2 hotels in New York. The first one was like 51st and 5th. And like that's where the Rockefeller Center is, like the big Christmas tree, like the fancy department stores, all that shit. You walk out of your hotel, turn onto Fifth Avenue, and you just like shoulder to shoulder, jostling, like any time of day. Doesn't matter what it was.
Fuck that.
And you're like, I can't fucking walk down a street without just like doing this slow shuffle. Like, honestly, it's the worst. And then, of course, people have no etiquette either. So they'll like stop to look at directions on their phone, but they stop in the middle of the fucking walkway instead of moving to one side.
So it's like being, just say, for example, the Adelaide show, because that's what pissed me off the most. People walking along and then they stop and you run into them.
Yeah. Yep.
It'd be like being like that, or any show, I'm guessing, 100% of the time.
People use.
I can't see how people like that.
People use pram as a battering ram. Then you got street performers taking up space in a crowded walkway, so a crowd gathers and doesn't move. So then everyone else has to navigate around that. They try and combat it by like putting a barricade like one lane into the road, but it still doesn't really help the flow of foot traffic. And the soundtrack of New York is beeping horns, because people will just go fuck the lights and just walk across the road, and then there's cars trying to like go across an intersection and they can't go, and then people will like go on an orange light and then just be like in the middle of the intersection, and then the traffic goes to go for the other way and they can't go, and then there's horns beeping, and it's hectic.
Fuck that. I can't think of anything worse. Like,
the public transport is pretty good though. Like the train system, the subways, once you work out how to do it, is pretty good. Get anywhere. Like super quick, super easy. Dodge a few homeless. Someone got pushed in front of a train on New Year's. Just one homeless dude pushed another random for no reason, just pushed him on the front of a track.
Wait, how did that turn out?
The dude didn't die.
Not good.
He had bad injuries or something. I can't remember if the train hit him or he just had injuries from falling down onto the tracks. But yeah, it was a homeless dude, just ran up behind him, shoved him in the back down onto the tracks.
Yeah, he took his like fucking 15% off token.
And then like another night, there was like a homeless lady asleep on a subway, and someone else set her on fire, and she died.
Whoa.
Yeah, that's a bit cool.
The homelessness was,
literally, it's
the homelessness
very cool.
was great.
I want to know what the appeal is for New York if it's like that. Like, who
I
in their
don't
right
see
mind
the
would live
appeal.
there?
No, well,
I don't know why you would live, but the thing is, you get out of the. I mean, you get out of the city where it's busiest and you get to like the Upper East Side or whatever, it's nice. Like nice homes near Central Park.
Yeah, but you can live in a nice home, but you go out of that and you're fucked.
Yeah. All I'm sitting there
Right.
thinking is like a fancy high rise, and then I've got to go do my shopping. I'm going
To be honest, I
start
don't
'cause
understand-
It's going to be easier.
I don't understand living in a city in Australia, let alone living in a city in America.
Oh, Adelaide
Fuck
seems
that.
seems bad. I don't mind
Yeah.
Melbourne. Melbourne's weird. It's got this peculiar vibe that just sort of.
There's too many blue hairs.
There's stuff happening all the time in Melbourne compared to Adelaide. Adelaide sleeps at 8. But Melbourne, I feel like traffic flows a little easier, kind of.
Yeah.
Things happen after hours a lot better.
But it's not as busy
But-
that you're rubbing neck.
No, screw living in the city though. Like I would do country life.
Oh, I needed a purge
but-
from being around people. I don't like being around people at the best of times.
Yeah.
But just not being able to go anywhere without touching other humans the whole time, or just having dickheads do stupid shit that annoyed me, it just did my head in.
I see you raged real quick. You
did.
would have been on the teed
It
up.
didn't
point.
take long. Like, yeah.
You would have relived those moments of the dog park.
There was some rage, but like you're also like in a foreign country. You're not like if you're out at night walking the streets, you're sort of half on like on guard as well because you're like you're protecting the dull. You're looking out for
So
yourself.
that's not a way you want to spend your trip. Like I guess it was only a couple of days. I think it was 3. You saying 3 days?
No, we're in New York for 9 nights, but where I didn't
And
feel
you couldn't see a gun shop.
there's none in New York. I'll tell you that much. Like 0.
Let's find out.
Maybe 1 at best. Like out in Jersey and like off Manhattan Island, I'm sure there is, but
Yeah.
certainly in and around where we were, definitely not.
New York had 11 gun dealers per 100,000 residents in 2022.
Is that
So
New
we
York,
can make the
New
math.
York State or New York City?
Good point. Good point. 14 licensed gun dealers in the city.
Right. Well, there's no like fucking in your face gun shops.
A Beretta gallery. That seems pretty in your face.
Oh, actually, yeah. No, I did. I did actually Google and found the Beretta place.
Yeah.
Yeah, didn't go.
It was
there.
around the corner, was it? It was just out of your way.
Well, that's not what I was there to see.
Exactly. That's what we're trying to make the point of. Thank you, Caleb. Josh, you need to listen to this podcast back and you'll hear Caleb just put himself in a hole.
Okay.
So glad you missed that one.
Look, I had a nice time.
Yeah. That's fair.
I've just left a little carrot dangling to go see next time I go.
Exactly. Bucks party. Done.
Yeah, sure.
It's expensive, but you're paying, by the way.
Look, in the words of Tiger King, I'm never going to financially recover from this, but it was well worth it. I had a great time.
Yeah. I'm glad because, yeah. Yep. Josh, how's your break been from the podcast? What have you been up to?
Much, man.
Yeah. You've
Yeah.
been like, it depends on what you want to divulge in. But
I went overseas and didn't hunt or shoot. Nah, I didn't. Stuff that.
how's the old family life kicking?
Yeah,
for
good
you,
man.
man?
Daddy.
Good kids walk, standing.
Does that button still work or what?
Let me test it.
Here we go.
Hey, Daddy.
Yeah, it still works.
He's a
I think
cook.
we had a crowd favourite from that one.
Anyone uses that in a sexual reference and as a father, they need to be castrated.
I think there's a lot of people that
It's a
probably
bold statement.
had that used towards them. I don't think the fathers would use it away from them much.
Maybe, maybe not. Or,
Maybe it's
It's a weird
2025.
world.
So
nah, not a lot, man. To be honest, I've been pretty boring actually. Just work and
Rearing a kid.
yeah, raising a kid. She's standing, which is pretty cool. She's carrying on, which is not that great.
has she said her first word yet?
Yeah, she said what mum and dad and that, and it's more.
Which one was the
sounds.
first? No. Well, that's not. Slow down. Slow down. Which one was the first
What was the
word?
first?
Dad, because
Did
dad,
it sound
dad's
similar to this?
Hey, Daddy.
Because she will be saying that.
She will not.
She will have baggage.
She will call me Supreme Leader.
She won't be saying daddy to you, bro. Anyway, continue.
Yeah,
So, it's going well.
Yeah, apart from that, man, not a whole heap. Went out, shot I didn't shoot it. I just was with the boys while they were doing their thing. 375 Shytac.
Nice.
Probably about a month ago. That was pretty cool.
Someone talks about guns.
Yeah, look, if I go somewhere, it's going to be guns or fishing.
Settle down.
Or wine. But no, I mean, that was good. That was a bit of a debacle at the start because one of the boys dialed 7.5 mils because on his app, I don't think it was inputted correctly. And we were at a mile. And I'm like, are you sure? And he's like, yeah, that's what it says. I'm like, okay. And it was just a brain fart all between all of us, really. And shoots, and I'm like, I'm not seeing anything. Like, I'm not seeing no trace, no splash, no nothing. I'm like, bro, I reckon you're low. And at 10 shots in at like $30 a shot.
Oh, jeez.
I'm like, nah,
Jesus.
someone else is going to have to spot because I can't see anything. And, it turns out he was, about 7.5 mils low.
I was going to say, like,
So who's half that? Yeah.
Yeah, so that was probably the most intriguing thing. We went back there for a bit of a hunt, which just turned into a piss trip.
What were we hunting
A few
for?
weeks later. Oh,
Deer.
just sort of, there's deer on the block, but it was more just this new kid, just getting him out and about, I guess, and
blooding him.
for a few roos or whatever.
He's from work, yeah? Just from my context?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Okay. Makes sense.
Was he blooded?
He was, yeah.
Because there's nothing better than like introducing someone to hunting and they actually take their first animal.
Yeah, look, it wasn't the way that I would do it, and I certainly wasn't steering the ship. I was more just, I was probably 3 double rums in, and I was feeling pretty
So you were supervising.
pretty buzzed. But it was just out under the spotlight, under the thermals actually. He just shot.
Wow, so his first hunting trip was under technology.
Yeah, look,
That's disappointing.
we tried calling in some foxes, and I don't know, like when I'm fox hunting, if there's nothing within 10, 15, that's it, I'll move.
Minutes.
If I'm calling foxes, I'll just move the spot. But we were there for it seemed like an eternity. It seemed like an hour. And they did apparently spot, because there was 2 groups of us. The other boys spotted a fox and he was about 200 metres out. Apparently he didn't shoot because he didn't feel comfortable, which is fair enough.
Well, no, you think about like when I first started shooting with you, how I would feel about a 200-metre shot on a fox compared to what I feel now.
Oh, yeah.
It's
yeah.
crazy difference.
Yeah, true. Very true.
So you can't knock that.
Especially
at least he
under
actually didn't
thermal.
pull a trigger. Yeah, at least he didn't pull a trigger.
Yeah.
He didn't feel obliged to shoot regardless.
Yeah.
Which I know someone else that doesn't like guns much in this room seems to turn it
In your room? Oh, who else is in your room?
In the room of the podcast. Because,
And
I think I've barely seen you hit
he's saying.
He's paying me out.
no, Caleb shooting over foxes just because he has a crack. And I like 75 minutes, not 200.
Everyone has made mistakes. I've since
sounds like
upgraded to much better optics on my rifles, and
Yeah, you're
there's
playing
such
the
thing as a
tools.
zero stop now, so I can never make that mistake again.
Well, we
You're
hope.
still dialed in from the yesterday's shoot.
Well, look, it's
So ZeroStop's not going to help you there,
an
bro.
honest mistake. Return your rifles.
It's a stop and check zero. That's what
Return your
helps.
scopes to zero once you've
Yeah.
dialed for 1,000 metres.
Yes.
Highly recommend. Otherwise, you'll miss
Anyway.
foxes at 50 metres by about 2 metres.
Like 5 times. I think you went through a magazine before you even the fox ran off. It was the most
fuck's
patient
going
fox
on?
I've seen
Oh, shit.
ever.
Hey, was this out at Joe's?
No, this was at Black Rock.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, he went.
Oh, that's right. Where
I've-
that hill
yeah,
sort of comes up.
I've made this
My
mistake
fox
twice.
that I got we saw him for like 2 seconds in the light, then he piss bolted. Probably the same fox, to be honest.
It was the first fox of the
Caleb's
night.
fox sat there and looked at us for like 80 meters away.
That's
He
right.
shot over the top of it by like 1.5 meters.
Yeah, that's right.
And for a magazine before realizing what was going on. And that fox is like, okay, time to go. I'm bored.
It's the most comfortable I've ever felt taking a shot, knowing full well I was just going to drill this thing, and then
You know something's wrong.
and then like the shot felt good. Like I was comfortable, I was relaxed. I'm like, you're dead, motherfucker. And then to miss by 1.5 meters just was like, what in the flying fuck is happening here? And then
Like for anyone that's watched that deer, you know, the hunter that shot at that deer down this alleyway, and it just stood there for like 5 shots. This is what this fox did.
Yeah.
Like it just the luckiest fox.
Hey, look, it's probably like, let's look at it a different way. He was investing in the fox population out there for our future hunting endeavours, because that thing ain't coming into a spotlight ever again.
I'm pretty sure that's a fox I seen later that night. It just piss bolted. Like after like 2 seconds behind the white light, it was gone.
I just did it for the lols, the content.
The lols.
It was
Fuck that.
funny.
I would have rather drilled
That
the
was pretty
fox
funny.
between the eyes, to be honest. But
Yeah,
it is. I've made that mistake twice in my life where I have not returned. It's every time we've been shooting at 1,000 meters, though. Well, no, sorry, not 1,000, 600.
Yeah, it's every time we got on the range. Yeah,
Yeah, well, yeah, I guess so. And I just haven't returned. I haven't returned my scope to zero. Put it like a
So
dickhead.
write yourself a bit of like a note and stick it to your rifle. Return to
under,
zero.
no, under your objective cap, and could be like, no, under your eye cap, and just be like, check zero.
Honestly, though, like it is actually a having the physical affordance of returning to zero and reaching a zero stop.
That's it's gold.
It's like a
Just to wind down.
it's something to
get the hit.
key you into that process of physically returning. Yep, I'm zero. Bang, like I'm good to go for next time. Versus, the inferior optics I've used in the past,
Right.
and it's like,
Yeah,
how many rotations did I do?
until you use the Ford off app, and you got to like give yourself 5 clicks below.
Yeah,
zero.
how do you like? I'm to the perspective belief that you should not set that at 0 at 100. Set it a few clicks below. So you got 4 clicks down
Yeah, 4 or 5. Yeah.
to your 0.
Yeah,
So you're 100 meters and then go down a little bit. So because there's so many times where I know I've been next to you, Josh, where we've come across a fox at like 40 meters, and due to the fact you were still 0 at 100, straight over top.
Yeah, it's not just that. It's so
And-
I'm using Ford off at the moment as my BC Hornady Ford off, and the way the algorithm calculates his 0, it changes obviously on your conditions of the day, but it's that sort of fine tuned. And I'll bring it into perspective. Have you ever zeroed on a day and you like hitting bullseye? It's perfect. You're like, sick. This is great. Then the next day you'll be off like a tenth to the right, and you're like, well, wait,
Atmospherics
nothing's
is
changed.
totally different. Yeah.
Right. So this app takes into that consideration, right? So it affords, like, it gives you, I guess to counteract that, if you set it 0, right, and you can't go below 0, well, you've got no fudge factor. So now there's like a bit of a common practice that everyone's doing like 4 or 5 clicks, like 4 or 5 tenths of a mil below 0 to give you that ability to chop and change if you need it.
Yep.
So it's not going to work if, under your theory of, okay, you can just wind it back to 0, hit 0, you're good, because technically
That will,
below
no,
0.
that will
there
work.
and thereabouts.
But that will work because you're going back to just say 50
Correct.
or 60 meters, and then where your 100 meters is. So it would work regardless of what it is. But just the pure fact of you should have below 100.
Look, and 5 tenths at 100
Fudge.
not that much, but it's certainly going to miss a head if you're shooting a head. If you're shooting sort of your lungs and that, won't matter. But
You might dial down. Fucking rarely. Let's be honest. Like most of the time, if something's real close to you, you're taking a shot. You're not dialing for it. Like you just
I'd just aim.
you're just aiming off or whatever.
Well, it didn't
but-
work out well for Josh. But no, I think that was you couldn't get clarity in picture at that distance. But
Yeah,
yeah,
I can't remember. I've missed plenty, man. What, to be
it was a
honest?
churro.
Everyone's
day,
missed at
walking out
some
of the day.
like. There's that many freaking variables involved in shooting.
Hmm.
Like whether it's the
good
equipment
fun,
you're
mate.
using or your own personal, how tired you are on the day. Like
It's why I hate using other people's guns these days.
Same.
Like, I
It's
hate
the
it.
worst.
Yeah. Like,
Unless it's Peter's 22 250 that he sold. Bust.
yeah, your old boys.
That was the only gun I liked to just grab and shoot.
100%. I agree.
really?
That
I
was,
still think
that
I-
was one of the guns where I feel like that's the most confident I've been in the gun
Same.
ever.
Ah.
Same. I reckon I've put down more animals with that thing than still anything else.
And he sold it underneath us.
He did. To fund his over way too heavy fucking.
So
What do you-
I feel like I'm going to clip this spot
Gara.
and you can show Peter. Yeah. Where he
his
could have got
his
more out of
lightweight
us
hunting
too.
setup, which is still twice as heavy. as
Yeah,
ours.
it's 7
As
kilos.
a psycho, yeah.
But I feel like he could have got more money out of us too than he could have got out of the gun store.
Well, yeah, probably should have asked you fellas, but look, it was nice, but it's too much wood, too much niceness. Yeah, I just need rugged, reliable, and repeatable now.
Well, just on any rifle.
Yeah,
The scope compensation.
100%. Air rifle, rugged, reliable, repeatable. I like the style.
Oh dear. What about you? What did you get up to?
Oh, been up to a little bit. So I guess the biggest thing for me is probably we decided to lash out on a couple of calves.
Splash out. Or lash
So,
out?
hey,
Lashing out at calves and splashing out on calves is two very different things.
sorry, splashing out
You were
on some calves.
Oh, you purchased you some. I thought you were just
I purchased
punishing
I was
some
lashing.
cows,
Just like
just
they were
flogging them.
they were attached to my horse and cart, and I was just lashing out because they were only going about 4k an hour.
Okay, you purchased some.
I wanted
livestock.
more horsepower out of the cattle. But yes, yeah, we purchased some 2 Highlander heifers. So that's probably big. It's a big step for us. So it's, I don't know. There's a plan behind it, but obviously that's a 5 to 7 year plan. So, but it's pretty cool. They rocked up 2 days ago, actually. So that's pretty cool.
So what you've done?
Yeah, and then obviously
5
with the
months.
Highlander. Say again.
So what you've done in 5 months is purchase 2 cows 2 days ago.
Like, I guess that's probably the biggest thing. Like, trying to remember what I've been up to.
You built the most cockeyed fucking shelter for them. I'll tell you that much.
Boy, that shelter was straight up and down the fence that it attached to. Ain't so great.
Bro,
That fence. Sorry, go on.
until I see a laser level or a spirit level against one of those posts, or see it in the flesh, that thing is on an angle.
Anyone that's actually used as an actual, because what I did was cut down a 2, 3. No, it was actually 1 tree, but it was 3. Sort of, you know how a tree gets cut down and it sprouts up like 3 or 4 trunks. I cut down those, so technically 1 tree, but 4 runs. Using actual wood rather than lumber, it's hard to get a straight edge.
So you made your own post from scratch, is what you're saying?
Yes. I made my own straight post from scratch. So it's depending on on what part of that post is level or not, or plumb,
Okay, so-
as you call it.
You just
But
have to pick and choose a
The
spot where it is
overall,
actually level.
the overall, you say it's hard to find like an exact point, but the overall, you check 4 or 5 times, and then you eyeball it, and then you check again, and you get like what looks best. So it's pretty close to plumb as you can get with a non-plumb straight edge of a post.
Okay,
But that fence is on like a fucking angle, man.
we'll have to put it down to you got to be there, because in photos,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, and the
looks like-
photos, that's why I put a disclaimer when I sent the photos to you. It was like, it looks pretty bad. When I took the photo, I'm like, fuck, these guys are going to just rail me for it. but the yard that it's attached to, so I'll put a lean-to attaching to an existing yard, and the existing yard's probably like 80-year-old. So it's on the piss a little bit, but it's functional. That's all I need it to be.
Okay, well, it
So
doesn't fall down.
no, yeah, that's the next test. give it a wind test and we'll see how long it stands. But I pretty much the only thing I bought some secondhand CGI and then some bearers from Bunnings. So the rest of it was just sourced from the property.
Corrugated iron. Okay.
Yes. CGI corrugated iron.
Computer generated images.
Image. It's not that. It would have been straight if I did.
It looks nice, man. It does.
No, it's good. It's functional.
For a shit ton of effort. I was actually the process of cutting down the tree. I worked out that if you're going to strip bark off a log, if you're going to use it as a raw post, do it the day of or day after. Don't wait unless you're going to wait 6 to 8 months. Because if you wait like a week, it becomes 4 times harder to take off the bark because it's sort of you lose your moisture in the bark, but it hasn't actually lifted from the trunk. Yeah. So it more sticks. Where on the day of or day after, it'll like peel off by hand. But yeah, it took me like 4 or 5 times longer to strip a post than it did beforehand. So just note to self and anyone else. But what I found actually surprising was this was spotted gum. And after ripping it down and having a look at it and just sort of did a bit of a Google, it's spotted gum's used on sort of like ship frames and trusses and all that for houses. It's very shock resistant. And I'm like, I wonder how much, as you do, you wonder how much you'd spend if I bought these posts from a supplier. So a 200 by 200 post, red gum, not red gum, spotted gum at 3.5 meters would have cost me $1,000 each.
Yeah, but it would be straight-ish.
It would be straight. Mine's straight edge
on the thing.
But yeah, this is milled it's a 200 by 200 square. So instead of mine was round. But yeah, so it's probably a 150 square post. But it's interesting to look at how much you could have spent if you purchased rather than.
You seem pretty chuffed with your.
I am a little bit. Like obviously, there's room for improvement for putting that together.
Levels.
But you don't learn unless you try and fail or try and succeed. So
did you
just got to try
tongue and groove it, or what did you do?
Nah, just like sort of. I don't even know what you call it, but just notched out a section and just like lashed it on with some tie wire. And then it's a few screws. So it's nothing. It's nothing crazy.
Well, if it's still standing by the time we get, it'll be interesting to look at.
What do you want from me, Josh? What do you want?
Well, I figured you'd at least try that sort of thing. Maybe a bit of mortise and tenon or something.
I thought about it, and then that's as far as I got. So I think. It'd be good to actually, because I was sort of a little time pressed with the cattle coming in, and I wanted to have it up before they rocked up. But it'd be nice to play around with some sort of better joinery. But I wasn't building a.
You spent 90% of the time stripping bark, and then like 10% of the time actually erecting the thing.
My, how did cattle survive without human intervention?
It's just I don't know. I guess if you had cattle for yourself, Josh.
Oh, bro, I'm completely different. Just let him go.
Yeah, Josh has just got
Get him in the trailer. Run free, my pretties.
You barely had boundary fences, to be honest.
Yeah, 100%. I barely had boundary fences.
You just relied on steep cliff faces.
I was trying to breed a new species of wild animal in Australia.
But yeah, there's when you do something, you're like, I could have done a few things better. So there's some things there where I'm like, if I did it again, I would try different things to try and improve the structure itself. But I got a 9x3 lean-to in for like $400. So I'm pretty happy with that.
Hey, next time I'll do it for $350. Done.
Oh, I'd like to see you do it for $350 if you're doing it for someone because you charge your labour, you dickwad.
Because I'm using all your stuff. So yeah.
But no, it was good fun. It was good. It was a good way to spend like a weekend and a half, I guess. So
it seemed like it was satisfying.
It was.
I do get down the rabbit hole of people building log cabins in the woods, and It does seem quite satisfying to cut your own timber and build a structure. And
I want to do it, man. Actually, like build.
Well, the next thing I'm going to do is get a. It's an attachment for your chainsaw, so you can cut the planks.
yes,
Or you can cut posts or whatever out of logs. So that's the next thing. Definitely need a longer chainsaw, depending on the log. But just for like a 200 round or a 300 round log, it'd be fine with the chainsaw we got.
So you can get a flat surface to put a spirit level on. Yeah,
Yeah,
probably a good idea.
So yeah, that would help. I suppose I can't fucking. Yeah, I gave you enough shit before, so.
Yeah, man. Exactly. If you're going to do something, do it properly.
Yeah, I'll take it. Yeah, no, I did it properly. You can't. How do you get a plumb surface off an uneven face, Caleb?
There's got to be a way. ChatGPT is your best friend in Queensland, so maybe you should have asked him.
Is ChatGPT a him or a her or an it?
Whoever you want it to be.
Exactly.
It's a they, them.
I feel like it
a
is
him, her.
possible with a laser level.
I'm not fucking buying a laser level or renting a laser level to do that when I've got a string line and a level. I understand you don't know how to use that, Josh, and you require technology to actually achieve what you want, but you can get a lot done with a string line and level.
Oh, look, I'm sure you can.
I think if you find the center of the post at 2 points, then you should be able to level
Yeah,
it.
you should be.
Yeah, true. If the post is in the ground, have fun finding center of that. But no, it was enjoyable. So would have been harder without a tractor, to be honest, but it could be doable. So
What did you use the tractor for? Digging your holes?
Nah, we rented a little ditch switch thing. So I don't have an auger for the tractor. That's probably one of the things I want to get for any fencing that needs to be done. But yeah, we got a little ditch switch with a auger.
Yeah.
And yeah, had that for a day.
Would you carry the logs with the tractor?
Correct. Carried logs and moved it around, and then like the bearer across the top of the 3 logs.
Lifted it up.
I used the tractor to lift that up. Oh, yeah. And then the rest was just like thinner logs just to run your I'm even not sure what you call them, but the angled under your bearers.
Joists.
Joist, that's the one.
Yeah.
So they were manageable by hand from the fence to the logs.
Gotcha.
Yeah. No, it was a good little project. So
Well done.
we'll see when the winds kick up and see how long it lasts for. But if it lasts, even if it lasts like 5 to 8 years, I'm pretty happy with that. I'm chuffed. If it lasts, got to last the first year first, and then we'll go from there. So yeah, I'll keep you informed.
Look, I'm not going to.
If you guys want to come up and see if you can find a straight edge to it, go for it.
I'm not going to swag underneath it by any chance, but we'll have a look.
No, it's swaggable. We've swagged under worse. You know what?
Yeah, we've swagged under trees with the potential to just fall on us in the night.
Yes, we contemplated lying in sleeping in a vehicle that was hanging off the edge of a drop in Victoria.
Well, that's true.
Yeah, we've slept in worse places, so that's what I could say.
Yeah. Okay.
So no, it was good fun.
That was pretty sketchy.
What else have I been up to? Not much. Went down obviously Christmas time. Saw a family down in Victoria, so it was a bit of a trek. So it's an 18-hour drive for me. Headed home for a week.
That trip's 18 hours.
18 hours from where I am to Horsham. So
shit.
Yeah, it's a 2-day. Like you could do it in one with 2 drivers and sort of switch it out if you really wanted to. But we drove and split it up in 2 drives, so which wasn't too bad.
Mm.
So yeah, it was it sucks though because you go home for a week and a bit, and you got 4 days of travel to and from.
Mm.
So it chews up a bit of time. That chewed up you get home after Christmas holidays and you got 2 or 3 days left to work, and you're like, I could go another week. But nothing really sort of that screams interesting, I guess, unless you guys can think of something I've told you that I'm missing. But
we can't all go on overseas holidays and get engaged and have children.
I'm glad you took up fucking 2 hours of this podcast because, yeah, I don't think me and Josh got a whole lot.
Look, I'm sure it wasn't that interesting hearing about someone's fucking vacation, but maybe there's a few tips in there listening to what the US is like now.
go hunt and shoot if go to
But
states.
yeah, well, next time, next time I'm going full
Yeah.
rural and going on hunting trip.
Rural.
I've ticked all the bucket list items now.
Yeah. No, for sure. Like, I guess if you go again, you got to be more pressed to do what you really are wanting to do,
I feel like I can dial in
unless
now.
you don't want to do.
Dial in now and get deep into something rather than just touch the surface of a lot of different things.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because what? You spent a month?
Yeah, I was there
weeks?
for a month.
Mm.
A month
That's
all
decent.
up. So
Decent crack.
3 nights. 3 nights Austin, 4 nights New Orleans, 9 nights New York, 4 nights Vegas, 3 nights LA, 5 nights Hawaii.
Yeah, Roger.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
by the time you get to Hawaii, you're like, what was Austin? Fuck, I can't even remember it.
Yeah. There's a lot happening in those weeks. So
Yeah.
I'm lucky enough to remember the last weekend.
True. It's just an absolute culture shock or shock to the system to go back to work after 5. Well, I had 5 weeks off total.
Oof.
So to sit down in front of a computer and look at an email after not even seeing an email
That would have been rough.
in 5 weeks was like, oh, what is this?
Yeah. I swear everyone struggles that first week back from Christmas because there's not many other breaks you'd have as big of a break on.
That's the longest
Unless
I've
you
worked
have
in
a-
my life, actually. I've had 4 weeks.
It's nuts that.
I've normally,
How crazy is that?
yeah, I like annual leave. I think the longest I've ever had is 2 weeks, and that's usually over Christmas, New Year's anyway. And then I had a month off in between jobs because I was going to a competitor, so I wasn't allowed to work. And they walked me the day I resigned. So, yeah, 5 weeks
The
off.
day of.
Day off. So, like, go on a competitor, you're out. So,
Yeah, fair enough.
gardening leave, they call it.
So if you're going to leave somewhere and you don't want to work the rest of your
Say you're going to a competitor, even if you're not.
say you're going to a competitor and just fucking
Then you
wear
just- Then you just get
Walk
paid
out.
to sit at home.
it. Fucking hard. That's a good plan.
I've talked to a few people here and there
That's
that
pro
are like,
tip.
yeah, pro tip of the day. Say you're going to a competitor. Because let's be honest,
Yeah.
like if you've resigned from somewhere, like
It's not your thing.
you're not like they know you've checked out. You're not really going to do anything. You're not making any decisions long
You're
term.
technically burning a bridge, though. If you like don't want to burn a bridge, don't do that.
Yes,
Because you burn a bridge if you do that and you don't eventuate in that role that you said you were going to.
correct. Especially if you're
So-
still staying in an industry or
Yeah,
you're
If
somewhere like
people
Adelaide
people
where everyone knows everyone. Maybe don't burn
anywhere. Like the worlds are quite small.
Yeah, well, these days, yeah, you can't get away with it.
No, so yeah, if you don't care, do it.
Yeah. It's not like back in the day where you could just grow a beard and all of a sudden you're a new person.
Oh, that was days.
Change identity. Just by,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's pre-photo license. Photo
Actually,
identification.
something I am annoyed at now. Well, not annoyed, but what I found confronting is like we flew into Dallas. So I went through customs in Dallas. And the first thing you do is, well, after standing in a line for 45 minutes, is present your passport to the customs person and then all your fingerprints are taken. So like thumb on the scanner, then each one of your fingers.
Ah,
And I'm like, my fingerprints are not on record in Australia at all. Like nowhere.
yeah.
And now all of a sudden I've got a full set
you-
on record in the United States along with my passport photo and identification. So
Well, I guess you got nothing to worry about. But like, if
like
you
I'm not
can't
out there
be,
committing
you can
crimes,
burn
but
them.
I'm like, I kind of like the fact that my fingerprints weren't on record anywhere.
It's funny that you wouldn't have thought of that though until that happened.
Yeah, because it's confronting. It's like, this is the first time my fingerprints have been taken
Yeah,
entering a country.
you should
where-
just cut your fingers after that and just change your fingerprint.
because I'm an international spy.
Just want to remain individual, and
It is confronting. Like their security is nuts, and
burn your fingerprints.
the lines to go through security. LAX was all right, actually, but JFK, you have never seen a line of humans who are all pissed off at the same time. I was traveling on New Year's Day, and we got there like a good few hours early, thinking, oh, yeah, shouldn't be too bad. It was a clusterfuck trying to get like your bags checked in, and then they're like they shut down all of downstairs where you could go through to the gates, and then upstairs we're like, oh fuck, look at this line, it's nuts. But all we were actually looking at was the line to get through TSA, and then we were looking at the like premium like cut the line people going through security. What we didn't realise was because we weren't one of the special people who can just bypass the line, we had to join everyone else. And we had to go left, and then we're entering this giant line that snaked, I'm talking hundreds of meters of people. Like the fact that it's a miracle they can find all the space to have all these sectioned off areas, and you just like loop around.
Yeah.
Like it's like a giant game of Snake, and it just keeps getting longer and longer. And just everyone in this line is all shitty. You see the worst of people at airports.
Is it like, to me, I find that it makes me less shitty when I see other people that are shittier.
Oh, you make a game of it.
And you gain that like reprieve from just watching and observing how people react. And you're like, well, I'm not that bad, so I'm feeling pretty good.
Yeah. Like I saw plenty of other people have meltdowns or just fail. Like it's surprising how many people lack the ability to get everything out of their pockets to go through security or understand what line is for what. Or follow basic
take your laptop
instructions.
out of your bag, sir.
Because they're a bit
But
flustered.
hang on,
they
no,
can't
you
follow
don't
instructions.
have to take your laptops out of your bag now.
Depends where.
Well, some airports, everyone's different, bro.
In Melbourne, it's super odd because we're like, we've still got to do that in Adelaide. Then Melbourne's like, no, what are you doing? Don't take it out.
It depends on the sensors, but belts, laptops, they're all different.
Yeah, like two of the things in Adelaide. Well, it used to be two of them you didn't have to, and then the others you did. And I think they've changed them all now. But yeah, certain airports,
they're all different
because it's not consistent. I think that's what fucks people up because they're used to their home airport and they're like, all right, keep shoes on.
But that's following direction, though.
Hats are fine. Empty your water bottle. Laptops out. Whereas other airports I went through was like shoes off, hats fine. Water, like liquids in water bottles is pretty consistent. Like empty before and then fill up afterwards. And then they were laptop in, or some of them were like, make sure all your loose belongings in your pockets is in your bag rather than putting them through in a tray. I'm like,
that's just common sense.
But it's, again, just listen and follow the instructions.
But yeah, everyone's good at what they're used to. So it's where you separate people when you actually put people in what they're not used to and see who's good at following orders or following direction.
Yeah, it's an interesting social experiment for sure. We had a lot of good times people watching.
Yeah, it's always good fun, mate. I enjoy doing that. So
yeah, there's some serious people watching. Was there another good people watching moment? There was one actually in New York because there was a fair few homeless, but because there's so many tourists around, you didn't notice the homeless as much unless you went down on the subway or there was someone obviously homeless like sleeping on top of an air, like where the hot air comes up onto the street, which I'm like, that makes a lot of sense in winter. Like that's pretty warm. But then there was one time where we're in a food court before like it was open, but they weren't serving yet. Like it opened at 11 a.m. So we're there at like 11:15. So we'd ordered a coffee and we're standing there and there was maybe 10 people in this food court. And one particular lady walked in and top half of her, she looked legit. Like she had a handbag, nice handbag, reasonably well presented. But then I looked down and I noticed she was sort of shuffling one of her feet a bit, had a bit of a limp. And I'm like, hey, what's going on there? And she got a bit close and I looked at her foot and the whole back of her like foot up to like her Achilles was rotten, like black rotted flesh. And she got a bit closer and I could fucking smell her. Like it stunk of piss and just rot. It was gross. And so we're standing waiting for all these vendors to open and she was just walking backwards and forwards. And I'm like, is she going to order something or I think she's homeless. Is she like just looking for an opportunity? what's going on here? So I was full assessing her, just sitting there watching. I'm like, she's definitely homeless. She turned around and I saw the back of her. I'm like, that's why you smell like piss, because like she had piss stains all over her back of her pants and shirt that was hanging down. So I'm like, definitely homeless, looking for a meal. But I'm like, she's trying to present like nicely because she's got a handbag there. And then she went and sat down on some tables and chairs. And by this time I had some food. I'm sitting down, I'm watching her a little bit. And what she was doing was she would reach down into her handbag, get a mobile phone out and be like looking like she was texting or something, and then like make a facial gesture and put it back in. And then there was one point where she picked it up and it looked like she was talking on the phone. Because I was watching her like a hawk, fucking the screen was on. The phone was just a phone. It wasn't on. So she was just trying to make it look like she could be there. Like she was just the average person, just, you know, having a coffee on her phone, could afford a phone. But I'm like, it was a nice handbag. But I'm like, there's street guys selling like Gucci handbags for $10. She could have stolen it. And this phone, it wasn't even on. It could have been anything. Like, it could have been any phone. And I'm like,
it sounds like a replay of Camilla when she pretended to call one of her voters.
Kamala,
But
yes.
Camilla.
I'm like, she's actually switched on. She's smart. But then I felt bad. I'm like, fuck, the length she's having to go to, because she's now watching everyone else to hope they leave some food or something.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm like, fuck, at least she's not just begging on the side of the road. She's actually, she's got a hustle. She's got a game here. She's trying to present. But then I'm like, the pain and stuff she must be going through with this rotted thing. And I said to my now fiance, I was like, I actually feel real bad because you can sort of deal with the dudes just being homeless like a little bit easier than like women and children. So I ended up saving all my chips because I had a breakfast sort of burger and chips. I ended up just saving that whole thing in the clamshell and I gave it to her as we were leaving because I'm like, well, this is untouched basically. And I sort of just slid it in front of her and I tapped the top of it and I gave her a thumbs up. And then she sort of turned as we were leaving and she's like, oh, what? And I'm like, they're for you. And she just still couldn't believe it.
Yeah.
And then we sort of walked out and then looked back and she started tucking into it. I'm like,
look, that's a nice gesture, but you're a tight ass and should have just bought her a damn meal.
no, but then I'm like, well, what is she going to, like, say I give her like a full meal, like, or gave her some money, what's it going to go towards? I'm like, I'm just giving her
food.
I don't need. I just gave her some food because that's why she's there, let's be honest. And I just made it a bit easier rather than her having to go to someone's table they've left and then like scavenging through it. I just gave her an untouched clamshell of chips that were still hot.
Do you know how that you can tell if it's a good gesture or not?
What?
Because she was heavily surprised in what you did. That's a problem in society, I think, these days, is there's not that many good gestures given out.
She was actually shocked. Like she double checked with us to make sure that she could are these for me? Like,
yes.
Even though I slid them as I walked past, slid them in front of her, tapped the top, gave her the thumbs up. There you go. She was still like, "Oh, what are you doing? Are these for me?" It's like, yes.
No, good on you. Good on you.
So, like,
yeah, it's a nice gesture, but you could have just bought her a meal.
oh, fucking calm down.
Well, he effectively did, didn't he? He didn't steal it.
Well, I didn't.
No,
she
he
didn't have
gave
to,
away his seconds.
No, like,
Which
I had
was a
like
meal.
2 chips out of it. I'm like, no, I'll save these for her. So I
No,
was
that's
like,
Because you know why he had only 2 chips? Because it was put off by the gangrene leg.
dude,
Couldn't eat
like,
it.
as she was
Couldn't
walking
stomach
back
it.
and forth, I had to move away because like I got a pretty strong stomach. I can handle some smells, but that was next level. That was fucking
that's-
filth. And I'm like, to be homeless to that degree, especially in those freezing temperatures, must suck.
Yeah.
100%. Like, and they say you're only like 4 bad choices away from homelessness. If you make 4 real big, bad consecutive choices, you're fucked.
Yeah.
So there's not a whole lot separating the general person and homelessness.
I'm making a bad choice right now because I'm sitting here talking to you two and I'm starving. So there's a first step to homelessness.
Jesus. Like, define starving because you're probably not starving.
Is that a subtle hint?
Yeah, I'm starving.
That was. I think that's his first time Josh has ever tried to wrap up a podcast.
I'm starving,
Good
man.
segue
My stomach
to
is
the end. I
eating
think
itself.
we're
I think we reached the point.
yeah, we've reached a natural pause in the conversation.
Going back to the American trip, we've reached the point.
Yeah, we're circling back now. We're rehashing.
I'm going to
but
rehash
no,
your
it's-
cupboard in a second.
It's bloody great to be back, to be honest. Like,
It is.
in my opinion.
It is.
So
Sorry.
hopefully that's well received.
Sorry for the extended pause, but we did warn you.
we
We've got shit going on, man.
Yeah,
We warned him in our last podcast for the last half of the year. Yes.
Yeah.
But
But
that's going to hopefully step up more.
we will tease that we'll mix it up a little bit this year. Just a little mix.
Are you going to get another one or are you not? Who knows? It's anything can happen Monday.
Surprise episode drop.
Yeah.
But no, we do.
26.
It's basically our indecisiveness on doing this regularly.
No, it's
Logistics of being in different states and having much busier lives than we used to is probably the.
It definitely helps or doesn't.
I just think it's because we all get piss stains now.
Just stop doing the video part of it.
Yeah.
We'll do the audio.
Just on that, like, have we discovered any?
We're back to the piss.
Other than, see, here's the thing: there's a fine balance. I'm talking about the logistics of getting rid of all the piss out of the end of your dick, right? I don't find that a more vigorous shake or extended period shake is necessarily any better because then you actually risk just splashing yourself
piss that in your
with
face.
your own pit. Yeah, exactly.
You got to wait, bro. You got to wait for it to
So you
get out.
exactly
Like,
you end up just
this is where
standing
you
there for
start
longer.
throwing.
Yeah.
And then you're like, but now I'm in the territory of like it's drilled into you when you're younger. Like anything more than twice, you're playing with it. Well, I'm like 100%. I'm just standing here, just
What? You
Playing
say you
with
haven't
it.
played it?
And
You
then I'm
haven't
like-
played with it before, Caleb? Come on.
look.
We've crossed that boundary plenty
I've got
times.
it to an
Let's
half form,
continue
but-
crossing it.
Like I also don't want people to think I'm just standing there playing with myself at the urinal. But then you could another
many
little
people are
trick
in your
there is
toilet at home?
if there's toilet paper available, just a little dab, just a little squeeze and dab.
Oh, this is Josh kicking off right now. He's
And
gonna
I'm
call you
like, it's
pussy.
a thing. It does work.
But
Yeah. Yeah.
it's effective, and that's
Just keep a wad of toilet paper in your back pocket for when you're at a urinal.
Send in your tips for expelling piss out of the end of your dick.
actually most public toilets don't have anything. Well, apart from going to the actual toilet, if you're in the pisser, you don't have paper at your disposal
True.
because it's all blow dry. I hate blow dry. I'd rather just old fashioned paper towel to dry my hands.
Is it socially acceptable to hang your wang in the hand dryer?
Just, like you waddle over to the toilet to get some paper, take some toilet paper, just to like dab it off. But yeah, it's bad enough water, let alone piss. Like, imagine how much blow dryers. What I hate about blow dryers. Most of the blow dryers blow the air towards you, kind of like down at your knees. So you're trying to dry your hands, but you're effectively wetting your pants by drying your hands. You might as well wipe your pants and be done with it.
My single,
There's other ones that you dip down into the
yes.
void.
Yeah.
I'd rather them better because it controls the sputter. But those, I'm not sure what they're called or something V, but they actually blow air at you to dry your hands. It annoys the fuck out of me.
Oh, there's the air blades.
Something, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, they're just like useless almost. Like blow it towards a wall or something.
It's terrible when you've spent all this time trying to make it look like you haven't pissed yourself. And then you go dry your hands and it just blows spatters of water into your crutch.
You spent half an hour shaking just to make sure you don't get a few dabs on your hands. And then you end up with like 20 just from drying your hands.
Look, it's
Like there's better ways to do things and we should be finding them.
look,
Paper towel is the way to go.
I'll still take the privilege of pissing standing up any day of the week.
Yeah.
So, anyway, on that note, I think we should probably wrap it up.
Now, 2 shakes or not, like let us know.
Send in your life hacks for. Please, someone
shit.
help me out. Help brother out. All right. Well, let's end it there. Thanks for listening to our shenanigans once again. And we will be back very shortly with another episode.
It's good to be back, lads.
We will.
Indeed.
Enjoy.
All right. Well, let's leave it there and get out of here and get some food in you, Josh, because you're getting hungry.
Yeah, I'm actually starving, man.
Well, let's make it happen.
I'm starving. Now I'm worried about having to take a piss.
How many shakes are you going to shake, Josh?
7. 7's a round number.
All right, guys. Gotcha.
Gotcha.
G'day, dude and dudettes. Josh here. Do you find it hard to keep your long, hard barrels free from gun STDs? Maybe you need a clean out of your bore. If this is you, jump on over to highcaliber.com.au and use the promo code SENDITMATE to receive a 10% discount on all your gun cleaning needs. And remember, it's sexy to support Australian-made products. Everyone here at Send It Mate uses High Caliber, and we can promise you that it'll keep your firearms free from those pesky gun STDs.